Well, this is about to be history in the making for the Blackaren series, where I cover not one but two Blackarens who will be entering into the Blackaren Hall of Shame. And those Blackarens are Kym Whitley and Sherri Shepherd. Now, you're probably wondering, why are these two getting entered into the Blackaren Hall of Shame? Well, they did I guess you could say, a small review or take about Monique's new movie called The Reading, which I believe is a horror comedy, and I haven't watched the movie yet. I would like to check it out, but everything that I've been hearing has been good as far as reviews go, especially Monique's performance. And everything seemingly was going good until Sherri Shepherd said something that did not need to be said about Monique in her review of the film. And of course, Kym Whitley was just agreeing with everything that she was saying. But what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm going to play for you the video, give my take on what she said, and then I'm going to show you the response that Monique gave. By the way, what you're looking at is coming off of Monique's Instagram account.
This is why I hate that Monique got blackballed by Hollywood. You can take it down.
Because she's fierce, huh?
Monique won the Oscar for Precious for a reason.
Which, by the way, and I didn't mean to stop it right here, Sherri Shepherd, if you didn't watch the movie Precious, was also in that movie with her as well. They didn't have any scenes together. As a matter of fact, Sherri Shepherd's part wasn't even that big. I think Sherri only had 2 or 3 scenes. And when she was in those scenes, she didn't even have that many lines, but you knew that's who was there. She had more interaction with Gabrielle Sidibe and not Maxwell, Lenny Kravitz. Because Lenny Kravitz was in that movie as well. That's mainly who she was, because I believe she was like a secretary who worked in the hospital, and Lenny Kravitz's character was a nurse or a doctor, and it was the scene where Precious had gave birth. Just wanted to throw that out there, just let y'all know that they did do that movie Precious together. They just didn't have any scenes with each other.
And like I said, people underestimate comics. She's really, really good. She's a great actress. Now, personality wise, she's always getting in trouble.
Right there is where she messed up. She was doing so good right there, giving her praises and everything right there. But remember how I always tell you, whenever you insert that word "but" in there, that means bullshit is to follow. And that's exactly what Sherri did after giving her these compliments, giving her flowers. This is what's called a backhanded compliment. When you give someone what seemingly is a compliment and you follow it with something negative. Sherri did not have to insert that part about her personality or what she's about to say. That had nothing to do with this movie. Nothing. Anything you had to say about Monique and her personality, you could have addressed Monique, and you're going to see what I mean when Monique pretty much writes this entire multiple paragraphs going somewhat in on the two of them.
Always. If it's not with another comic, D.L. Hughley, it is with the industry. It's somebody.
Now listen, see how Kym Whitley just said somebody? Like, that's basically her agreeing with what Sherri said. She said, you're always getting into trouble with somebody, basically trying to say that Monique is the common denominator for the reasons why her career is where it is, or she's the common denominator for the reason why people are kind of the way they are towards her. It's not always them, it has to be her. That's the vibe that I'm getting from Sherri Shepherd. Sherri better tread lightly, because let's be real here. Sherri Shepherd is pretty much carrying the leftovers from what Wendy Williams was doing with her show. Granted, Wendy Williams' show should have been off the air years ago. Some could argue she shouldn't even had a show, considering how she carried on with the radio show. But let's be real here. Sherri Shepherd is picking up her slack, because it's not like Sherri Shepherd's talk show is an original show, quote unquote. It's basically piggybacking off of what Wendy Williams had going on. If Wendy Williams was still on the air, Sherri Shepherd wouldn't have a show. Let's just be honest with ourselves here.
But this movie, The Reading with Monique, when I tell you, I almost turned it off. This sucker it scared me. But Monique is funny in it too. It's a horror / damn comedy. I'm going to tell you something. And Monique got it on her thing. So it's not going to be me giving away the movie, because she's got it posted.
And why is Kym Whitley over there biting on her fingers? Like, you are doing she over there playing with her wig and biting on her fingers. Like, what is this? That's just something that was annoying me when I'm watching this.
When people are getting killed, because you know it's a scary movie, so somebody's always getting killed. The girl who about to get killed, Monique got a knife. This.
Okay, so that's the end of it. And see, so now she switched up her tone, and now she's gone into. If she would have took out that part about her quote unquote, you know, her personality and what she said, that backhanded compliment, there would have been no problem. What she said in the first few seconds of this video and what you heard at the end, that's all that needed to be there. She didn't need to insert that other part in there. This is exactly why I've heard so many times over the years, from the time I was a teenager, probably even before then, well, most likely a teenager and even older into my 20s, that a lot of women, and I'm going to say black women in particular, said they didn't hang out with a lot of girls growing up because a lot of them carried a lot of drama. That's why they hung out with a lot of boys, not in a promiscuous sexual way, but because they knew they could hang out with guys and boys and not have to worry about this gossip about them or worry about someone talking about them behind their back. What you just saw Sherri Shepherd do and Kym Whitley agreeing with her is exactly why a lot of black women don't like other black women right now. That's where that cattiness comes from. So with that being said, Sherri said what she said. Kym agreed with her, but Monique, you know, let me tell you something right now. Monique, she is a Maryland native. She is from Woodlawn, and if my geography is correct, I don't think Woodlawn is far from Baltimore. I think they're relatively close. They could be neighbors, because I think sometimes some people get them kind of mixed up with each other. But no, she's from Woodlawn. And let me tell you something right now. If Monique wants that Maryland side of her to come out, she's going to let it be known. But she's going to do it in the most classy way as she possibly can. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the response that she gave, or she had, for both Sherri and Kym. So here it is right here. This is just one slide right here. It's going to be a couple more. She says, "Hello, Sherri and Kym. First, thank you for your compliments regarding my talents and performance in the reading. I couldn't help but notice, though, that you two said because of my personality, I'm always quote unquote getting in trouble. You then attempted to show a connection between my personality and me being blackballed, along with the fallout I had with Brother D.L. Hughley. In addition, you two within the same breath mentioned how we as comics are quote unquote underestimated. First thing, kids with their parents, criminals with the law, and slaves with their masters get into trouble, and last time I checked, I don't fit into any of these categories to get in trouble with anyone mentioned. Do you two?" That's the first thing. That's just the first slide. As you can see, there's an error right there because it's indicating there's another slide. I believe it's 2 more slides. And trust me, like I tell you, Monique, if she feels like someone's coming for her, she's going to check you in the best way that she possibly can, to make you sit there and think about what you said. It's almost like one of the things like go in the corner, go in timeout, and think about what you've done type of deal. Because that was messed up what Sherri said. She could have gave her review of the movie and left that part out. That had no place there. It goes on to say, when you two say we as comics are underrated, and you, Sherri, Kym, and I are ironically all black female comics, why do you think we are underrated? And mind you, Sherri and Kym and Monique, they all pretty much went, I guess you could say, somewhat mainstream around the same time, which was like back in the early 2000s. Because I remember when Sherri Shepherd used to be on the later seasons of the Jamie Foxx show. Kym Whitley, she started, popping up in different movies, Next Friday. She was on that show called Old Drama on BET back in the day. So she was popping up here and there and whatnot. But I think out of all 3 of them, Monique, of course, became the more bigger star, especially since, she had her own show. her own sitcom, and then, you know, different stand-ups, and she popped up in movies. She won the Oscar and all these different things. But anyway, she said, my personality is of such where I have to speak up and out against injustices so we can stop being, as you both said, underrated. And if you've noticed, I haven't ever started a conversation about you two that involved any negativity in any way in all of the years I've known you two. Check my resume. I don't go knocking on anyone's door saying things I can't substantiate. But some people have a problem with me because when they knock on my door with BS, I answer. So he's basically telling you, like, look, if y'all want to come with the smoke, fine, but don't think that I'm not going to clap back. And she's trying to be nice. Like, you can tell that as shady as Sherri and Kym were in that video, Monique is trying to be as professional as she can be in this response. And you can tell that she's actually genuinely hurt by this, because these are two women that she considered to be her friends in this industry. And you got to think, you know, in that industry, you don't have a lot of friends or people that you can genuinely call a friend. You have a lot of associates, and acquaintances, but you don't have a lot of people that you can call a friend. And the fact that Sherri said what she said and Kym is just like agreeing with it, now Monique is going to have to take them out of the friend category and put them into the associate category, because I wouldn't want to be friends with someone who would say something like that about me, especially considering all the stuff that, you know, that I went through. And they have to understand, Monique's issues with the industry is not a new phenomenon, not for her or anyone else who's gone through some of the similar things, or maybe even worse. Monique is actually very lucky to still have a career, considering she kind of hit a dry spell after she won her Oscar. And we know why that is, but I'm glad she was able to bounce back. You know, she's in this movie called The Reading. She's now currently on the second season of BMF. So it looks like, you know, people are still taking a chance on her, and I'm glad they're being proven right, because she's a very talented actress. One can say that she's doing drama just as well as she did comedy. Anytime the team of you two sisters would like to speak with the team of my husband and I, we welcome it. Thank you two again for the compliments, though backhanded. And please know, regardless, I still love you both to life. And you can tell where she put it right here, though backhanded, because like I said before, it was a backhanded compliment. She wanted, out of everything she said, this right here is what stands out, and that she probably wants them both to see, because it was a backhanded compliment. You're going to say, oh, you did phenomenal in this movie, the movie is so good, but your personality or whatever keeps getting you into trouble. And it's, like I said, making her seem like she's the common denominator of the reason as to why some people don't like her, or whatever the case may be. Remember that fallout she had with Netflix because she felt she should have got paid more money than Amy Schumer and all types of stuff like that? You had a lot of people that was going against Monique, but when she brought them receipts, then them people who had so much to say about her fell all the way back. One thing about Monique is that she going to back up what she says with the receipts that she can gather and place in front of people, so she can shut her naysayers all the way the hell up. So that's why I said you got to tread lightly when you're trying to come for certain people, because the thing is, Monique may know some stuff or got some stuff on Sherri Shepherd and Kym Whitley that we don't know about. So if I was Sherri and Kym, I would be very careful with my words. Because remember, she says she's known these women for years. She knows them better than we do. They probably have conversed and told and shared with each other certain things that us on the outside looking in have no clue about. So all I'm going to say is this: Sherri and Kym, just be very careful of what bridges you want to burn. Because one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to leave Monique out in the open while she's like literally on fire, because that woman is going to come to burn you up. That's all I'm going to say about that. But shout out to Monique for like standing her ground and standing up. And more people in the industry, especially black people, need to be more like that. She's not afraid to check somebody. And these are two black women that she had to check. And I can tell that she didn't want to do it, but she had to do it, because this woman literally has been fighting an uphill battle with her career for over a decade. mainly stemming back to Lee Daniels, Tyler Perry, and Oprah Winfrey. Well, Oprah, the Mammy Supreme Winfrey, I should say. But I'm glad that she found her voice, even though I think she always had it. And she's basically putting people in their place, especially people that she calls a friend. And then you gotta think, these are black female comedians. Like, they're already in a very tight space just on that alone, being black and female in a male dominated space. And this is how you want to come at one of your other female cohorts. But I'm interested, though, to see how Sherri and Kym, if they do, respond to what Monique had to say. And then you got some people out there that are trying to say, she shouldn't have responded to them. Just let it go. That's the problem right there. And it's coming from some black people. Listen, you can decide not to respond if you don't want to. But my thing is this: if you don't, that's how they're going to continue to roll over on you and continue to say the things like what Sherri said right here. You cannot allow them to continue to steamroll over you, because then you're going to become a human doormat. And that's one thing that Monique is not, as we have seen over time. That does not make her a bad person. That doesn't make her an uppity person. That just means she demands respect. You can have all these criticisms as you want to say, but if you come at someone in a disrespectful tone, you deserve to get checked. And the fact that Sherri said what she said, that struck a nerve for Monique, because that's something she's been constantly hearing from people. And I think the fact that it came from Sherri and Kym agreeing with it, it made it even worse, because she, again, knows these women, and she was not expecting that to come from them. She expects it to come from these, these Hollywood critics and reporters and whatnot, because that's what they do. But she was not expecting it to come from two women who she's known for a long time, who she's considered a friend in and outside of the industry. Now she's going to have no other choice but to look at those two sideways. And I don't blame her, because I would too. Especially if these are people that you confided in and thought you could trust. But now that trust is kind of shaky. But then again, like I said, in this industry, you're pretty much alone. You pretty much can only rely on yourself. You can probably rely on some people, but not completely and utterly everybody. And another thing that I've always heard, and after this, I'm going to close the video out because I don't want to drag it on any longer than I need to, is a lot of people always try to make criticisms about Monique's husband. As far as I'm concerned, he's doing everything that a husband should be doing for his wife. And that's making sure affairs are in order, because I believe her husband is her manager. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of people try to say that he's not good as her manager. Some people try to criticize their marriage and all types of stuff. But as far as I'm concerned, it looks like he's doing everything correctly. And they probably felt some type of way when she said, anytime the team of you two sisters would like to speak with the team of my husband and I. And that probably pissed them off, because that was a shady comment she threw to them. And the reason why I say that is because Sherri and Kym are not married. Monique, however, is married and has been married to her husband for many years now. And they have a family. So she's basically saying, look, you two hens had to come together to come at my neck. Well, she's like, while me and my husband can come together and form like Voltron, and we'll take you out. So just in case people didn't understand what she was saying right there, that's basically what it means. But shout out to Monique for, standing on her square and, being firm, standing 10 toes down.